Now at 6 o'clock, some local law enforcement agencies have started turning off camera surveillance systems after a judge ruled that anyone can access the images from them. We'll let you know how one of Oregon's senators is responding.
And despite the government shutdown ending, several flights are still canceled at PDX today, when we could see things return to normal amid an ongoing shortage of air traffic controllers ahead. Plus,
all right, you're gonna take this little worm and you're gonna offer him food.
Here you go, Rocky. Yeah, not Rocky the boxing champ, Rocky the Mazama newt. It's a specific type of salamander that you can only find at Crater Lake, and they're now in danger of extinction. So we're going to share the story of survival with an amphibious edition of Drew at the Zoo coming up for you at 6:45.
good morning, and thank you for joining us on your Friday. I'm China Green.
And I'm Drew Carney. All right, Chris McGinnis and Rod Hill. Chris, before we get to what we hope is Friday light on the roads, we got a weekend forecast from Rod Hill.
Yeah, here it comes. FYI, if you are up early because you're going to hit I-5 and drive up to Seattle, you find rain starting at about Chehalis and steady rain into Olympia. And there have been some heavy rain pockets up into Seattle this morning. And then closer to home, Astoria up into Long Beach, maybe down into Seaside. We have some rain as well. There's a front up to our north, as I mentioned, but it's not coming down our direction. No fog over the capital, but we are seeing reports of some fog in the valley, so watch out for that. Another mild morning, 50 in Salem, broken clouds over Portland, and 52 degrees. Crazy mild. Fun that we have the lights on the Christmas tree up in the West Hills at the Oregon Zoo, our live camera there. So in the Willamette Valley in Southwest Washington, we're calling it a mainly dry start. There is a shower chance today. We just think that most of the time when you're out and about, you won't feel any rain. Temperatures all the way back up to about 59 when the kids get out of school. Here's Chris.
Rod, now that we're into the 6 o'clock hour, the drive getting a little bit busier, but we're still zipping right along at a speed limit clip. There's the trip through North Portland, I-5 on the left-hand side of your screen. That's the southbound commute with the headlights up near the Expo Center. That looks pretty good. Little mist or maybe some drizzle down towards Tualatin. That's I-5 at the 205 interchange. Still, though, a speed limit drive across the metro area, so we're in pretty good shape as far as that's concerned. In Polk County, we are getting word of a possible injury crash on 99W near McCoy. Right now, the highway is open, 99W that is, near Bethel Road. So just be on the lookout for the emergency response there. Obviously, give them some space. Otherwise, guys, no major trouble out there just yet.
All right, thank you, Chris. Government services getting back to normal operations now following the end of the longest government shutdown in U.S. history.
Which means hundreds of thousands of furloughed workers will have to address a more than 6-week backlog of work. So for others, they're waiting to get paid for the first time they've been waiting to get paid for the time that they spent working without a paycheck, And then there's a chance that we could see this all play out again. The agreement President Trump signed into law Wednesday evening only funds most of the government through January. Now, what's not back to normal yet is air travel, with a shortage of air traffic controllers who worked without pay or called out sick over the last 6 weeks.
Yesterday, Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem announced a $10,000 bonus for TSA agents who provided, quote, exemplary service. Exemplary service is defined as not calling out during the shutdown and also picking up extra shifts to help fill the gaps created by staffing shortages. We had a news crew at the Portland airport yesterday where TSA lines moved smoothly and travelers, for the most part, seem to be in good spirits.
Our flight from here to Denver wasn't affected, but the Denver to Orlando flight was. And so Southwest rebooked us for a later flight so that our layover wasn't too long. So I'm thankful for that.
Yeah, we were a little nervous, but I was like, you know what, let's just go for it. Because sometimes it can be inflated, and let's see. And it's worked out so far.
According to flypdx.com, there are 18 flight cancellations on the board for today. Most of them are either Alaska or Horizon flights. Of course, that number could always change, so definitely check your flight status before you head to the airport.
While airlines are optimistic that they can get back on track within a few days, the regional director of the Air Traffic Controllers Union told us that it could take months for air travel to return to normal. She expects the ongoing 6% reduction in flights to continue through the holidays and points out controllers were already at critical staffing before the shutdown. She says many workers were forced to take other jobs to pay their bills, and now she's worried that some won't return.
The impacts of the government shutdown are really unknown at this point. It's going to take a few months until our pay and we're made whole and all of those issues are rectified, as well as what does that look like for trainees that were coming into this profession.
There's more here. It turns out that many controllers in Northwest took early retirement and now controller training stopped. So you can watch our full interview with the director on Straight Talk this weekend or anytime on our free TV app, KGW+.
A federal jury in Chicago has ordered Boeing to pay more than $28 million to the family of a United Nations environmental worker who was killed in the 737 MAX jet crash in Ethiopia in 2019. The verdict is the first in dozens of lawsuits filed after the crash in Ethiopia and another MAX plane crash in 2018 in Indonesia. Those crashes combined killed a total of 346 people. The lawsuit alleged that the 737 MAX plane was defective and Boeing failed to warn passengers and the public about its dangers. Some local law enforcement agencies, meanwhile, have turned off a camera system that's been used to investigate crimes because a judge ruled that images from the cameras are available to anyone. The cameras are made by a company called Flock Safety and are installed on public streets. The sheriff's office in Skamania County says they've used them to solve crimes and find missing people, but opponents of the cameras say they're being used to track people, calling them an invasion of privacy. A Superior Court judge also ruled that all images from these cameras are public records, so in other words, they're accessible to everyone. That's when the Skamania County Sheriff's Office turned them off.
The concern with the public here is that they feel like their information is being exposed to us unnecessarily, but now people can do records requests for any reason from anywhere and get the same information we had. And that's concerning to us because we're trying to keep this information secure and safe.
The sheriff's office says while the cameras are off at this point, they're not taking them down, at least not yet. City officials in Woodburn also turned off the same system of cameras there. Oregon Senator Ron Wyden is now calling on all cities in the state and police agencies to rethink their use, saying Flock Safety cannot guarantee privacy.
Happening this morning at 7, students at several schools in our area will walk to school in honor of Ruby Bridges.
It was on this day 65 years ago that 6-year-old Ruby Bridges became the first black child to walk into an all-white school in the South. It happened in Louisiana. This morning, Sunrise reporter Thomas Schultz is in Northwest Portland talking about today's Ruby Bridges celebration at Forest Park Elementary. Thomas?
Hey, good morning, guys. And yeah, the images and footage of Ruby Bridges, at the time just a first grader, breaking in that color barrier and desegregating her school in Louisiana is frankly just stunning. Let's show you some of the footage from that day 65 years ago. You can see Bridges here being escorted into the building by federal marshals. By walking through those doors, the 6-year-old put a stamp on a court order mandating the desegregation of schools in Louisiana. As she walked into her New Orleans school, Bridges was taunted by angry crowds. She immediately became a symbol of the civil rights movement, and today, students and administrators in Oregon will celebrate Bridges' walk by walking to school themselves. Here in Northwest Portland at Forest Park Elementary School, students will walk from a cafe down the street along with Superintendent Kimberly Armstrong to school this morning. We're going to be there for that walk. It's also happening down in Salem. Students will be walking at 8:15 before then having an assembly in honor of Bridges. Guys?
Our Thomas Schultz reporting live for us this morning. Thank you, Thomas. And Bridges is now 71 years old. She continues to be a civil rights activist and has written a book about her experience integrating an all-white school.
All right, before we get to Rod, a look at the tree, the lit up Christmas tree at the Oregon Zoo. Yeah, Zoo Lights starts next Friday, but tonight there's a bit of a preview. Tonight and tomorrow night, gang, is Brew Lights. That's that 21 and over only event happening at the zoo. You can experience all of the zoo lights with a brew in hand, and no kids allowed. You got to be 21 or more.
I think what I remember yesterday is your description of Brew Lights.
Well, sometimes, I mean, I've been to zoo lights, especially when the kids were a lot smaller, and sometimes it can be hairy.
Yeah.
I mean, kids kind of lose their minds at some point around 8 o'clock at night.
Yeah, you said you won't see the girl who dropped her ice cream and is throwing a fit.
Yeah. No, the kid who just spills the hot chocolate all over the pavement and cries, no, he's not going to be there this weekend. Just the adults, Rod.
Our KGW team will be on site, and if Drew Carney is there and he spills hot chocolate on anybody by mistake, accident, we will have that video clip next Monday.
Okay.
All right, here's our day planner. It's another day where there's an ongoing chance of some light showers, but we don't think there's much out there. And we think your odds are actually pretty good. If you're outdoors all day working, you're not going to feel any rain up and down I-5 between Vancouver, Portland, down into Salem. It's another mild start. Some of you are in the 40s, but we're 50 in Portland, and we'll be up to about 59 at 2 o'clock. Wind direction today, southwest 5 to 15 miles per hour. There's the other Christmas tree. This one still in the process of being reassembled down on the square. The view from the Pioneer Park building. 52 is the early morning number. 51 in Beaverton, but it's 46 in Hillsborough. We have 49s in Oregon City, Happy Valley. We've got a 49 in Silverton this morning. It's 50 in our capital and 51 degrees down in Albany. Here's our afternoon weather map. I think generally it's just dry and partly sunny in central and eastern areas of our state. And look at Pendleton, 60. Again, this is mild weather gripping all of Oregon and up into southwest Washington. We have some rain this morning up around Astoria and Long Beach, and this is probably the best chance of rain here on the west side that we have today, is shower activity. It is raining by the time you get up into Seattle. It has been for a while. But for Portland and especially south, mainly dry. Just don't be surprised if a light shower finds you at some point. I do believe at some point this evening, overnight tonight into tomorrow morning, we'll see a little bit of an increase of rain across the area. Then that decreases during the day, and then rain will pick back up on Sunday. Sunday at least has the potential in the afternoon to be quite wet. That is your 7-day forecast on a Friday morning.